I'm Leanne Harris, CEO for Keller Williams Portland Central, and today on Getting to Know Your Realtor, we have Molly LeBlanc. Hi, Molly. How are you?
Hi, doing good.
Good. So I get to ask you, of course, all the standard questions, but I love to surprise my guests right out of the gate and talk about that you were the cultural ambassador for Keller Williams International this year, which is awesome. And every time I see you now, I sing the theme song. So tell us about that.
It was really cool. Like, it was a very interesting year to get this honor, just with everything being virtual and everything. But I feel like, representing the Northwest region was such an honor, and it blew me away. And it helped, just even with my mindset, fighting the stuff that we had with all the COVID and everything. Like, yeah, I know I'm here for a reason, and let's spread that culture and everything that KW represents. It was awesome.
And you saying we are the world.
And we are the world. We all overcome our own struggles.
It was my favorite. I mean, you looked like a pageant queen because I think that they sent you a sash.
Yeah, they told us to wear the sashes, and no one did. I'm like, great.
I thought that it was absolutely awesome. I was like, this is so good. And I really loved how you came out of the box and just were like, I'm just going to sing the song on screen. It was amazing.
One of the hardest things I've ever done.
Well, good. Then it sounds like as we get into real estate conversations, this should be easier than singing We Are the World on screen. So tell us your story in real estate.
It's been quite the ride. I started February of 2008, so literally right after the crash. Wow. I came from property management, had been managing a couple of complexes before then, and then wanted to, go bigger. I didn't know, really what the market was. I will say, looking back now, I'm actually pretty thankful I started when I did, because I had to learn how to work for it from day one. Yep. Like it was hard. It was a completely different type of market and everything back then. And I was young. I was 24, with a 1-year-old baby, and it was a struggle. And but for me, in my brain, there was never, you're not going to not make it. Like, you have to do this, and it was one of my first transactions was like a $70,000 condo in Happy Valley. Like, it was crazy. And I got that because the other agent didn't want to work it because it was not worth their time. Wow. Yeah. But it led into,
I tell new agents that a lot. I say, you know what, just go hang around a big producer, help them. Don't ask for anything. Just keep saying, do you need any help today? Want me to drop off any flyers? Hang around them, because there's plenty of business that they actually can't take on sometimes because they haven't built out their teams. But yeah, it's an agent that says, $70,000 condo, that's not my gig. And right. Yet these hungry agents have great people like yourself behind them that can get the support. All right, keep going.
So it was a lot of that. Like, for me, I just wanted to learn as much as I could about everything. And so the brokerage that I was at was small, but they had been established, and it hit that brokerage pretty hard. Happened to have an account with a foreclosure entity. And so they were able to kind of keep things floating through there. And it's really funny looking back. Like, we couldn't sell, they just sat for months. But in the meantime, you have all these, clients and everything, and they're not quite ready. They don't want to make the jump, but I want to learn. And that was one thing that, I still do to this day. Like, everything is changing all day long. Like, this month is different than last month, strategies, everything is changing. And so when you're starting to build and then to continue to build your business, you want to learn as much as possible. And so when the short sell era hit, again, I was with an office full of people who didn't want to touch those with a 10-foot pole. And so I'm like, I will, and learned everything I possibly could. I got like 5 different certifications in short sales, did everything I could. And I ended up getting a ton of referrals from those agents who didn't want to. They were set in their ways. They didn't have the time. They didn't have the care, anything. And I'm like, sure, let's do this. And then
a group of agents are getting out of the business. And that's what a lot of people forget. Every 50 market, there's a group of agents getting out of the business.
Yep. And there's a way to get their business if you're in the right spot and position yourself, and so short sales taught me a lot. And
You have to have a lot of patience. Those
yeah, lots
were
of people.
long. Those were like a year and a half
My
transactions.
longest one was, and I'm not even kidding, was an 18-month close. But we got it done. I did not calculate how much I made on that one. I was just like, nope, we are thankful that it is there.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of adapting. And so, but all those people became my lifelong clients, and so I have worked with them multiple times now since then, and that's just how I started to build the database. And so after short sales kind of went away and this market shifted, I was just like, what is going on? This is crazy, because I had never been in a market that was good
Yeah.
before, and same thing, and learning and adapting, your strategies change from where it's a buyer's market to seller's market, just learning and absorbing as much as I could. And then I think, and that was the last few years. And then when I made the jump, like I was with the same brokerage for that entire time, and then I made the jump to KW and almost just shy of doubled my business that first year. And it was good when I left, it was decent. But it was just, that was surrounding myself with people who are like-minded, who are just as driven and want to learn and adapt and grow, was probably my biggest factor on that. And then the second was adopting systems and models. I didn't have a whole lot I was working with, and then changing it like that. Yeah. And now I have doubled my business, anything I've done before. So
That's awesome. What do you think are the highs and lows that maybe you want your clients to hear about?
highs and lows of real estate.
Yeah. What are your highs and lows in real estate?
I mean, my favorite part, no matter what, has always been just the moment of actually physically giving that key. Like, it's so fun. Like, it gets so stressful during the actual transaction. People tend to forget, like, the joy of it. And I'm big on joy. Like, we need to be thankful for all the little things, and so when things get stressed out, or if there's an appraisal issue or whatnot, I try to bring them back. Like, just picture Christmas morning, opening those presents, having that Christmas tree, and just picture yourself there. Is it worth it at that time? And the answer is always yes. But the key time is my favorite part. That's a good high for me. And then getting you know like for me, like there's a lot of relationships that you get, that build. Like, so many of my clients have turned into really, really, really good friends, and when you're in a transaction, you're talking every day, multiple times a day, and then they close and you're like,
Yeah.
been too long until I can go bother them, because I want to see, I want to know, I want to see how, like, what color they painted the walls and stuff like that. That for me is really fun. The lows, like, it gets really stressful, and it's a very, very emotional transaction, like people, like, and it's hard to prepare for that. Like, you can tell them, like, it's going to get stressful, and then it's going to get even more stressful, and then something's going to happen, and you're going to feel like it's the worst thing that could happen, and every transaction is different. You can't predict any of them, but the lows are like when they're at that bottom, there's a lot of tears, and just like, can't go on, it's too stressful, there's no out, but by nature, most realtors are problem solvers, and so I try to, make sure we have a solution, and work our way through it, and we will, but the lows, like, I'd say those are the hardest parts, it's just when
Well,
they're
I think that says a lot about your past and your history in real estate, where a lot of people don't understand how hard it was to get a short sale to the closing table. And so these for you are a piece of cake. You're like, girl, I got it. And you know what I mean? Like, don't worry, because this is so simple compared to dealing with banks and not closing and possibly going into foreclosure and all the craziness. So I think that really what your clients need to hear out of that is that, look, if you can be a short sale expert, all of these other transactions are a walk in the park for you. It's going to feel stressful to them, but that's what you're there for, right? You're there to be able to guide them through that process. I love that part. Okay. Yeah, that is hard. I mean, crazy, right? It's just, it can be emotional. And I bought a house this year, I love to talk about it because I hadn't bought a house for 17 years. You know, people think I run a brokerage and that I'm out just do. I mean, I buy investment properties, but I'm not emotionally attached, right? This one I'm emotionally attached to. I have to live in it. So it can be very emotional as you go through it. And I understand that part of it. And I think that you're the expert that can help them through that. 3 nuggets that people can walk away with.
Um, I would start with don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, systems and models are there, from tried and true people who have been through it. You know, if there's a recommendation that we're making, there's probably a reason, and so walking through, something that might seem a little uncomfortable usually ends up at the best goal at the end, and so just trusting the system, and the models. Like I feel like that's something that is a good takeaway. And then for me, one of my nuggets, which I've kept in my brain since day one, um, nothing worth nothing worth doing is easy. Like it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of effort on everybody's part. Everybody, like from inspectors to the lenders to everything. Like it's teamwork, and like it takes a lot, but when you're done, it is so worth it. Like, so worth it. I've never had somebody be like, "Oh, I wish we hadn't done that." I usually wait about a week before I ask that question, but
wait until it simmers down just a little bit. Yeah.
Third nugget would probably just be it's all about relationships. I love the fact that I work with people who I trust, they trust me. There's already a relationship established. Like it's what gets us to what their end goal is, whether it's selling, buying, or becoming an agent or anything. Like the relationships are there, and that's what I like to expand on. Like it's a partnership, but it's really a relationship. And like I said, I've had so many clients become long-term friends. It just like it's a mutual trust, and having that relationship, like I don't even have the words for it, but like that for me is what gets me up in the morning. It's what makes it worth everything. Like there's
Well, what's funny that you say that is 2 things that came to my mind. One is that people think that Keller Williams is a cold calling machine.
Oh.
And in reality, we are actually very clear in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book that we believe in the 12-2, the 12.2, 12:2, whatever it is. It's 12 of your known contacts to 2 transactions. And so relationships are what our entire red book was built on. It actually wasn't built on cold calls, although we do have those statistics and predictions, because we know that you do need to build out your database. And of course you should be out meeting new people constantly. But we do have that reputation that we're just cold calling machines. And I think that there are some people that do that, and that's maybe their business model, but as a whole, that's not what we teach people. We teach people to have relationships. I saw an ad, or no, it was a post on Facebook, and it was a kind of the guy sold a product, and it was to realtors. The product was to realtors. And he said, "How long do you keep calling prospects before you give up?" And I was like, well, I think you need to have a relationship. I think that especially now during COVID, how has that changed for you? So I guess my kind of piggyback on that is, how do you add people to your database right now if you're just having warm relationships and you have mostly referrals? How else do you meet people? How else do you add stuff? Because I know you don't cold call.
I do not cold call.
But you do have a relationship with Facebook and Command.
I do. Yeah. There is not any other nugget that I could ever give anybody other than work your people, and when I say work it, I don't not like gross work, but like just call them. When COVID hit, and we all were just staying home for a couple of weeks to flatten the curve, back in March, it was like, okay, all right, this is interesting. Again, we're adapting and we're learning, like, how are things going to go, and then when it became apparent real estate's not going to slow down, we just need to do it differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
It did for a second. It got quiet for a second.
It did. It did.
And
And
all of
then
a sudden we were like, what's going to happen? Then everybody's like, I want to move. I can't stand living in my house.
well, for me, what I did, like right in April, like after it kind of it was quite like I work with a lot of first time buyers, which is very rewarding. But in Portland, the price point is very high, and it's hard for first time buyers.
Yeah.
But it's still the rents are so dang expensive. It can still be better for them to buy. And so
Sure.
April happened, like I had 3 different first time buyers who were 300 and less, and they had been beat out on multiple for months. 2 of them had said, we're just giving up, and I called them, I'm like, guys, I think this is our time. Like, I think that we can go out there. If you guys are okay, like there's safety protocols, everything like that. I think we can go out there and find you a home. I think the competition's kind of quiet right now, and all 3 of them closed by June. We got them, in contract. It was so amazing. It was awesome.
So you
Like,
looked at the problem, you figured out where your opportunity was in the problem. I love that.
yeah, and got them in homes, and now they're celebrating their first Christmas there. Like
Woo! I love it.
it's crazy, but like that was me, like just making sure, that my people are taken care of, and then having those conversations. I checked on everybody, everybody with a lot of people in April, Mayish, just to
Yeah.
make sure you're okay. Because I mean, that was back when toilet paper was still rare, and I had just happened to have some Costco stuff. So I'm like, if you need it,
Back out.
I have toilet paper and wine. So if you need any, you let me know.
I need both. I just want to drop. I just want to pop by. Well, yeah, Costco's making me mad. They're out of paper towels again. I'm like, come on. Come on. I'm sick of it. All right. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
That's a good question. I really think it would be on preparation and perseverance. Like I really feel, and it comes back to that learning, nugget, but like if you are prepared, then you're going to be ready. Whether you're walking into a listing, you're going to know what the neighbor's house sold for, or if you're, about to negotiate against 10 different offers, like you learn as much as you possibly can. I think that the preparation is the key. It can make the difference, and then perseverance, meaning like it's not easy. I know everybody thinks, oh, real estate, easy money, but it's not. Like it is time, sweat, energy, effort, money. Like it is your soul, or at least it has been for me. But perseverance, like when it gets hard, and it will get hard, there's days where you're just like, oh my gosh, and worn out, or people are so stressed and they don't have anybody else to take it out on, so who are they going to do it? But like just persevering and knowing like, okay, what is their end goal, and how can we get them there? And that's why every time I start, like what any kind of relationship, like what are your goals, like what's your end game here, let me know. And then that way I can remind them throughout the transaction, or just even in my business, like persevering, like during the hard times, and like, so preparation, perseverance, I think is what I would write it on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to leave us with?
I have a question for you.
Okay. We did not prep for this, which I think I really want that to be known out to the audience that I do not know what the question is coming. And sometimes I'm like, oh boy, what are we going to talk about?
It's like, yeah, I like to throw people off there.
I like it. I like it.
But we have been in a very unique year. We've had a very unique year, and things are crazy out there, and people are losing their minds. It's very stressed out. Everybody's stressed out.
We really are.
But how, even as far as you personally, or you as a leader within our market center, or anything, like what has been your biggest nugget, or how are you keeping the morale up with a group of people who are facing an unprecedented event and not necessarily knowing that they're even facing it or having issues or anything? Like they're just stressed out. Like how are you handling that?
Well, it's super funny because I just recruited a top agent yesterday, and she's awesome chick, but I really do run a philosophy in my life that complaining equals garbage magnet, and I really don't want it around me. And I mean that in the most loving way, but if you're going to just sit around and your own cesspool of complaining, then I'm probably not the person that you want to hang around with. And I'm saying that really in a very loving way, but super funny because I recruited this great agent yesterday, top agent in the city, and she said, I inquired about you with a title rep. And I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to say. And she said that you're a fierce mama bear and she's going to call you on the carpet. And I think that what it is for me and how the people that are willing to lean in right now and the people that are willing to want to have their morale lifted are people that are willing to also be told, like, look, we can't sit still. There are things that you can do in a pandemic. You don't have to take this lying down. Your business can go virtual, and really coming up and being that solution-based person for them and bringing in good content. And I don't know if you saw today's team meeting from my girlfriend up in Seattle, but just like little content, like jump on a podcast, jump in a group. What did she say? She's part of a Scandinavian group and she's not even Scandinavian. She said, I'm part of a Norwegian Facebook group and I'm not even Norwegian. And I mean, I was just like, what is happening right now? But what she said was, I want to connect with people and I want to add people to my database, right? And so why can't you get creative during this time? And I think that the people that want their morale to be lifted, they absolutely are getting their morale lifted because they're solution-based people like yourself. And we're reinventing ourselves just like the agents are. Keller Williams as a whole, of course, we're technology, but we're moving forward in today's market by going really virtual for any of the agents, being able to support you, do your coaching, training. Nothing has stopped for us. We just pivoted a tiny bit. And I think that that's how you keep the morale up, is you keep the energy up, and energy never dies. So I think energy multiplies. So just keep it going.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Molly. I really appreciate you being on today. Thank you for being our 2020 cultural ambassador. You really do embody the culture at KW, and I'm just really grateful to be in business with you. So thanks for being on the podcast today. Thanks for joining us today on Getting to Know Your Realtor. This episode was brought to you by Lifeline for Hope. Be sure to catch us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much again for joining us today. Have a great day.